Bombshell Kash Patel just made an announcement that turned the Charlie Kirk shooting case upside down, and the fallout is more shocking than anyone expected. He said the suspect was in custody finally, some justice in a case that had shaken the nation. But within hours, that story collapsed. No photo, no name, and suddenly no suspect at all. If you believe truth matters more than silence, hit subscribe right now, because the facts you are about to hear will leave you questioning everything. And the announcement that disappeared. When Kash Patel first said the suspect had been caught, people believed the nightmare might be over. Social media lit up with relief, thinking answers were coming and justice was underway. But that sense of closure did not even last through the evening. Suddenly, the suspect was released. No charges filed. No official explanation. No mugshot. A political assassination had just occurred in front of hundreds of witnesses, and the supposed killer simply vanished from the system. Even local officials refused to clarify who this person was or why they had been held in the first place. That kind of refusal is not normal protocol. It is intentional silence. That is not just sloppy, it feels calculated. And what came next made the silence even more dangerous. Missing footage from a packed crowd. Over 700 people attended the event where Charlie Kirk was killed, yet not one confirmed frame of rooftop footage has been released. Think about that. We live in a time when satellites can read license plates, and cell towers can pinpoint phones within inches. But we are told no clear video exists of the shooter's escape. That does not add up. Even crowd-sourced apps collect more data than what has been shared. People in the crowd swear they saw cameras rolling and even pointed out angles where security should have been filming. Yet somehow, none of that evidence has surfaced for the public. It is as though the scene was scrubbed clean before the public could even process what happened. But the strangest clue was not visual, it was digital. A digital signal that vanished. Investigators uncovered a brief device ping lasting just 13 minutes during the shooting, before going completely dark. Then, 2 hours later, the same signal appeared again, 180 miles away, near a restricted federal site. That is not random behavior. Ordinary people do not erase their signals and then reappear across state lines. This was intentional. Whoever carried out this attack knew how to cover their tracks. Cyber analysts noted that the method used looked similar to ghost routing, a tactic associated with trained operatives rather than average citizens. That detail alone suggests this was not amateur work. This was not sloppy panic. It was precision. And it draws chilling parallels to past events where the truth has also been buried under layers of secrecy. The blind zones that protect ghosts. The signal did not just vanish randomly, it disappeared into what analysts call a surveillance blind zone. These are areas where overlapping jurisdictions cause monitoring to fail, creating perfect cover for those who know how to use them. The exact same pattern was reported during the Nashville bombing in 2020, where crucial evidence went missing because cameras coincidentally failed. Are we really supposed to believe lightning struck twice? Or is this proof that the shooter had knowledge of where to vanish? Security specialists have warned for years that these blind spots exist, but officials always downplay their importance until it is too late. Yet somehow, a suspect used it perfectly on the very night Charlie Kirk was taken down. This looks less like a lone actor and more like someone trained to exploit the system. And that leads us to the real question: why Charlie Kirk? And why now? The sudden targeting of Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk had always been outspoken, but 36 hours before his death, something unusual happened. He criticized government failures on gun violence, naming specific roles tied to the failures. That same day, he was suddenly trending on platforms that rarely even mentioned him. Data logs showed more than a dozen flagged posts targeting him in less than an hour. A surge higher than anything previously recorded. Hate traffic spiked right before he was silenced permanently. Researchers who track political discourse said the surge was unnatural, more like a coordinated campaign than organic backlash. For Charlie to be singled out at that exact moment raises questions nobody wants to answer. Was this coincidence or coordinated? Because if the man was becoming a bigger problem for certain agendas, then eliminating him at that moment sent a chilling message. Yet the bigger shock was not just who targeted him. It was how quickly the official story collapsed. And the quickest walkback in political history. Patel's announcement spread everywhere within minutes. Suspect in custody. Yet less than 4 hours later, it was erased as if it had never been said. No press briefing, no correction. Just a quiet reversal buried under the noise. If this was just miscommunication, why not clarify immediately? Why not show the public records? That is standard procedure in every major case. Instead, the correction came with no explanation, leaving people more confused than before. Even mainstream outlets that initially reported the arrest quietly deleted or edited their posts without explanation. That kind of coordination does not happen by accident. It felt less like a mistake and more like someone wanted the truth hidden. But what sealed the doubt was the silence of the very people who normally rush to speak first. Leaders who suddenly went silent. There are politicians who never miss a chance to comment on high-profile tragedies, often posting within 20 minutes of the first report. But after Charlie Kirk's assassination, silence. Not a word, no outrage, no condolences, not even the usual calls for policy. One senator, known for constant posting on firearm incidents, ignored this completely even after reporters reached out directly. That kind of silence is not accidental, it is strategic. They do not want their names tied to this case. Even advocacy groups that usually capitalize on incidents like this stayed quiet, offering no statements and no calls for action. That is not oversight, that is suppression. And when leaders who normally scream the loudest suddenly whisper nothing, you know the story is being buried on purpose. They said justice was served. Then they said, never mind. A man is dead. A suspect walked, and the ones in charge say nothing. People are scared, confused, and starting to question everything they have been told. And when silence replaces truth, outrage becomes inevitable. If that does not shake you, you are not paying attention. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications. Because silence is not just dangerous, it is exactly what they are counting on.